Hello, welcome.
The digital world is calling, and it's ours to answer the gateway call to the fourth industrial revolution. And that's why we're here to help each other up through this support, seeking healthy minds and healthy choices. But not just that, do you even worry about your online privacy? Guarding our online selves from scams isn't just for tech specialists alone. I'm talking about tech. Green skills create green jobs and promote planet protection. So hear this now. Hope is on the horizon. It's International Youth Day. It's a webinar built by us and for us with the theme Business at the Core, Safe Mind, Safe Web, Digital Inclusion and the Planet. A conversation with global voices and local stories. Together, we tackle what matters, which is how we rise up from joblessness with each other's help. We share skills, trade ideas, build startups in classrooms and street corners. Our motto becomes, I am because we are. We plant ideas and seedlings alike, restarting the economy in harmony with nature. The story flows from struggle to strength and from fear to hope. I feel you, the Nigerian youth, who has been knocked down but is still ready to rise. And this isn't just a lecture, it's a jam session for growth. We will have real talk, real conversations in a rhythm that feels like heartbeat. Bring your voice, your questions, and your fire because business is at our core. Our planet is our home and it needs us. We are the solution, carrying a torch for the future that needs it. Nigeria's youth, let's rise, connect, and shine.
Join the movement.
Let's build a better future
and a healthier planet.
One action at a time.
one action at a time. A very good afternoon to you. You're welcome to this event. My name is Changemakers Favor LSC, and it is my utmost pleasure to be your delectable host for this event. I have the incredible honor of welcoming you to this day in commemoration of the International Youth Day 2025 with the theme Business at the Core, Safe Mind, Safe Web, Digital Inclusion, and the Planet. Permit me to add that this webinar is supposed to cover 5 topics, but for this day, we'll be considering 3 topics. Without substance abuse and data protection, it will be discussed in a subsequent webinar. We're here today because of an organization that is dedicated to impacting green jobs through climate technologies in sub-Saharan Africa, and it's none other than Climeactions. Please, let's give them a round of applause in the comment section. Let's give them a round of applause in the comment section. Thank you very much. Thank you for your active participation. I'd love to welcome you specially to today's event. We are so delighted to have you here with us. So just before we start, tell us your name and your location. I'd like to know where you're joining us from. Tell us your name and your location. Tell us in the chat box your name and your location, please. Tell us your name and what part of the world you're joining us from. I see we have people from different parts of Africa gathered here with us today. Welcome. I see Olabaju Deborah. You're welcome, Deborah, all the way from Nigeria. We had other people gathered from all parts of Africa with us here today, and I am so delighted to have you here today. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to recognize the presence of our speakers who are here to share with us from their wealth of knowledge. And yes, we have in our midst the Chief Economic Advisor to the Imo State Government, a professor of sustainable finance and governance at the European University Institute, Italy. He is also the chair of Afri-Capitalism, Shared Entrepreneurship, European Commission, high-level expert group on sustainable finance in low and middle income countries. He's a professor of sustainable finance and, more importantly, the brain behind Okobi, Professor Kenneth Amechi. You're welcome, sir. We're so glad to have you. We also have in our midst a United Nations expert, a kingdom ambassador, artificial intelligence, governance, policy, and ethics. He's the United Nations Officer for Digital and Emerging Technologies, Georgia Institute of Technology. Jide Olugbade, you're welcome. Welcome to our midst, sir. We're so happy to have you here, sir. And we have our very own co-director of Climeactions, the co-founder of the Association of Nigerian Refugee Students, and he's also a climate change advocate, John Manua. We're so glad to have you in our midst. Welcome. Yes, I see so many other persons joining us from different parts of the world. We have Grace Elachi, and she's joining us from Abuja. You're welcome, Grace. And to everyone joining us from different places, we are so delighted to have you here today. You're welcome once again. So, ladies and gentlemen, over the next 90 minutes, we're going to be learning about youth unemployment, digital inclusion, and the climate. And trust me, by the end of this event, you will be enlightened on how to tap into the opportunities in these areas. Right about now, intentional African youth, of course I know you are. I crave your indulgence to make welcome the Executive Director of Climeactions, the brain behind what we do here at Climeactions. And it's none other than Ajogu Maxwell Agabam. Let's give him a round of applause in the comment section, please. You're welcome.
I'm so sorry about that. I just got an information I was speaking while I was mute. So sorry about that. So I'll go over everything again. I'm happy I didn't go too far. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, depending on your location. It's my pleasure to have you here this afternoon. So just a quick one. Right now, I believe everyone can hear me. So if you can hear me, just a thumbs up will do for me. A thumbs up, a reaction, anything. Okay, quite. That's good. That's good. On behalf of Climeactions, it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to this special event marking the International Youth Day. Whether you're joining us from Lagos, from London, Nairobi, New York, or even a small corner of the world with just enough Wi-Fi to hear me right now, you're part of a big thing today. Now, let's be honest, like choosing to spend your time here means you care about something bigger than yourself. That's what's celebrating. In fact, you can give yourself a nod or a clap. a reminder that the energy, creativity, boldness of young people are the most valuable resources on this planet. The International Youth Day is celebrated every 12th of August, and we are gathered here today to show our strength in unity in celebrating it today. This year's International Youth Day theme, titled Local Youth Action for the SDGs and Beyond, honors the spark for the grassroots projects, the quiet individual courage, and everyday activism that lighten up our path to global change. This year, we brought together three brilliant minds with competent experiences around three big pillars of empowerment. First, we'll dive into power and partnership, leveraging networks and collaboration as entrepreneurship strategy in modern day economy. This session will show you network is not just a catchy word. It's a blueprint for thriving in today's entrepreneurial landscape, even when the opportunities feel scarce. Next, we'll step into the digital fast lane with digital inclusion as the gateway to the fourth industrial revolution opportunities. The fourth industrial revolution is here. This talk is about making sure no young person is left behind in the digital tech world. Finally, we'll bring it home with combining traditional technology or traditional knowledge with digital technology in restarting the economy. Climate action is not just about planting trees or banning plastic bags. It's about building economies that are green, resilient, and deeply connected to our cultural wisdom while fully embracing the tools of the modern day, of the modern age. Before we dive into all of this, I want you to imagine this. If we left this webinar today and every single person here committed to just one partnership, one new scale, or one small green action, how much impact would that create? Hundreds of ripples, thousands of lives touched, maybe even the start of the next big African or global solution. Makes me want to ask you today to type just one word in the comment for me that describes the future you want to see. What's the future you dream of? The future you want to live in? Could it be inclusive, sustainable, green, peaceful, fearless? Tell me something. And I see someone already saying green. I see peaceful. That's beautiful. Look at that. We already have the beginning of a shared vision. Friends, the road ahead of our generation is full of challenges, yes, but it's also overflowing with possibilities. We are not just passengers on this journey, we are co-drivers, designers, and disruptors. As we go through today's session, I want you to listen for ideas you can act on immediately. I want you to meet people you can collaborate with long after we log off here. And above all, I want you to remember, we are not the leaders of tomorrow. We are the game changers of today. So let's get started. Let's connect. Let's challenge ourselves. And most importantly, let's have fun all along. Welcome once again to the International Youth Day 2025. Let's make this one for the history books.
Thank you so much. That was a beautiful welcome address by the Executive Director of Climeactions. Please, I want to see your fire emoji in the chat box. Let's do something beautiful. Let's show some love. Let's show some love to our Executive Director. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Maxwell, for that beautiful welcome address. Yes, we're about to get into the meat of today's event. Intentional African youth. To participate actively in today's event, make sure your phones are on silent, shut your door and every form of distraction, and be here, spirit, soul, and body, of course. Because nothing is more important than for you to be here today with us. Just so you know, we'll have our question and answer at the end of the first session and the last session. So just take note of your questions while the session is ongoing. So I believe we're prepared and ready to receive our first speaker, because our first speaker is a global thought leader in sustainable business and finance. He's the Chief Economic Advisor to the Imo State government, a professor of sustainable finance and governance at the European University Institute in Italy. He's also the chair of the Sustainable Business at the University of Edinburgh, UK. He works at the intersection of academia, policy, and business, shaping how Africans think about economic growth, sustainability, and innovation. He's also the brain behind initiatives like One Kindred, One Business, Okobi, empowering communities through entrepreneurship, and he's part of the European Digital SME Alliance Countries Committee. Most recently, he's a chair of Afri-Capitalism, Shared Entrepreneurship for Economic Development, European Commission high-level expert on sustainable finance in low and middle income countries. And this afternoon, he will be speaking to us on power in partnership, leveraging network and collaboration as a modern entrepreneurship strategy. My ever-ready and intentional African youth, join me with a clapping ovation. I need to see your fire emojis in the chat box, because the man we're about to welcome to speak to us is one of impact and influence. Join me as I make welcome Professor Kenneth Amechi. Good afternoon and welcome, sir. We're so excited to have you here with us.
Well, thank you very much for the nice words. I truly appreciate the invitation. But I mean, I thought it might be better for us to have more like an informal chat as opposed to using a heavy presentation. So I'll talk about the work I'm doing in Imo State. I want to believe that most of us are Nigerians here on the call, right? Is that correct? The moderator, can you hear me? Okay. Can anyone hear me? Hello? Please let me know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, have you been hearing me all the while?
Yes, sir. And I've been actually replying to your questions. I can
okay.
hear you,
It just came up now. How many people on the call do you know? I know you're live as well.
Okay, we have people from Italy, we have people from Abuja and different parts of Africa gathered today, sir.
Okay, so it's difficult now to call now. I think
but
the point I'll
start. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
we're
okay.
more Nigerian.
I'll say let's start from a common problem we have in Africa. Africa, even with the opportunities, Africa is a rich continent. We have natural resources, we have people, we have good let's say climate, good environment. We are blessed by nature. But Africa also has problems such as weak governance, weak markets, and unemployment. Unemployment is a big problem in many African countries. I think the World Bank data says about 60% of African young people are unemployed. So that in itself is a problem that we need to tackle. Governments, NGOs, the private sector. But then how do you solve that problem in a state like Imo State? Imo State in Nigeria is about 5 million people. And the population of 5 million is about the size of Ireland. I think Ireland is about 5.2 or 5.1. Finland, Norway, Luxembourg is less than 1 million. Malta is about 600,000 people. So Imo State in its own right can qualify as a country, put it that way. But out of the 5 million people in Imo State, about 3.5 are eligible to work. So if you discount people who are sick, who are old, or the children, so about 3.5 million people are able to work. But out of the 3.5 million people, a lot of them don't have jobs. So, which in itself is a problem. So if you have a situation whereby about 1.5 million people are unemployed, how do you solve that problem? I think that's the challenge the government faced at some point, and then decided to do something about it. So, and in this economy, Imo State economy, you struggle to find companies that employ more than 250 people each. So, which tells you that it's a small or micro business economy. Dangote employs about 20,000 people in Nigeria. First Bank employs about 15 to 17,000 people in Nigeria. So if we are to solve the problem of unemployment in Imo State, and you have about 1.5 million people that are unemployed, that means you need about 100 Dangotes in Imo State, or 75 of them, or 100 First Bank in Imo State to solve the problem. But this is an economy that you can hardly count companies that employ more than 250. So it's a tall order. So the governor, in his wisdom, decided to go through different routes. One is what is called the Skill Up Imo. Some of you might have heard the news about the governor sending out 4,000 people to Europe. The true story behind that is that the governor wants to train 300,000 Imo youths on digital skills. And the idea there then is to empower them. If you have 300,000 people trained, and each of them is able to deploy his skills. So let's assume a multiplier effect of 2. So that means that for each person trained, you have 2 others that will benefit from it. So that means that we are looking at 900,000. So 300 trained and extra multiply effect of 2, 600,000 extra, then that's 900,000. That could be a good way to address that problem of unemployment. And the idea is to train people that will stay in Imo State and work for countries, for different companies in different parts of Nigeria. It can be Lagos or Abuja, Port Harcourt, or even in other African countries. So imagine somebody staying in the comfort of his room and producing some tech products or services that will benefit people who are far away. Technology has made life easy for us. I'm in Nigeria. I'm actually in Owerri. Maxwell is in Rome or somewhere in Italy, but we are having this conversation. So that's the thinking there, that if you are tech savvy and you're able to engage yourself, you can do things. And imagine a situation whereby you're able to earn $250 or $500 a month. It might sound small if you're outside Nigeria, but it's a lot of money within the country, where the minimum wage is 70,000 naira. So instead of people queuing to get government jobs that don't pay as much as they want, if you're earning $500 or even $200 a month in the state, I think that's fine. $200 would be close to 300,000 naira, which is a lot more than the minimum wage. So that's the idea behind that. But so far, the government has trained about 25 to 30,000 people, and not everyone will also be interested in digital. So the government thought there could be other ways. That's how the One Kindred, One Business initiative came to be. The One Kindred, One Business initiative, the acronym says Okobi, O-K-O-B-I, One Kindred, One Business initiative. It's different from what the Ghanaians done, the One District, One Factory. Okay. So, but it's something similar too, in the sense that here we're encouraging group-based entrepreneurship. So if you look at entrepreneurship in Africa, it has to a large extent focused on individual entrepreneurs. So I start up a business, I employ a few people, I become a unicorn or whatever afterwards, right? So unicorns make a lot of money, but they don't create a lot of jobs. So if you're confronted by high unemployment, our thinking is that group-based entrepreneurship can be one way to address that instead of focusing on individual-based entrepreneurship model. So the kindred there doesn't necessarily mean you come from the same family or the same community. It's about people you share the kindred spirit with. So it's about coming together and creating our own jobs. So there are 4 criteria you may need to make. One, it has to be a registered business. So in this case, we want to address informality, because the other problem in many African countries is the informal nature of our economies. In Nigeria, our GDP is dependent on, I think, about 60% in the informal sector. So we want the businesses to be registered. They have to be formed by groups. Groups here can be anything from 3 upwards. It has to be profit-oriented. It's not charity. And it also has capacity for more job creation. So it can be loose individuals, maybe groups of friends or alumni associations or even villages. And nothing stops a village from creating a business in Nigeria. NNPC is owned by the state, by the federal government. Ibile Holdings in Lagos is owned by Lagos State. You have the Odua Group owned by the Southwest states in Nigeria. In Imo State, you have Concord Hotel owned by the government. You have Adapam owned by the government. And some other states in Nigeria own businesses. If states can own businesses, what stops a village from owning a business? Nothing. So there are about 655 communities in Imo State, and we are encouraging each of them to set up a business. And that business can employ 10, 20, 30 people. So instead of them waiting to be employed by the government or employed by multinational firms, because if you want to solve that problem of unemployment in Imo State, like I said earlier, you need the governor to bring in to the state about 20 Dangotes. Or if you want to simplify it, they can say, we need 1,000 companies, each of them employing 1,500. So that's how to solve the problem of 1.5 million. But attracting 1,000 companies in an economy that barely employs more than 250 per company is quite a challenge. So that's why we're relying on the community, these groups doing things for themselves. And so far, we have about 450 Okobi businesses in Imo State, and we have about 13,000 members so far. To put this in context, the state employs about 45,000 people. So that will include civil servants and teachers. Right? So if in the last 18 months or 20 months, Okobi, the movement, has created about 13,000 opportunities, we hope that in the next 2-3 years, the number of people engaged in the Okobi movement will be more than what the government currently employs. So that's the thinking. And it's not limited to Imo State. We call it a movement. It started from Imo State as a pilot, but it's not meant to end here. So I've done some work in Germany looking at this, and some international organizations have shown interest. The African Union is looking at it as well. So the federal government of Nigeria, who knows, might adopt it as a strategy for youth unemployment, to address youth unemployment. So we see this model movement going beyond Imo State, going beyond Nigeria, and if not, it might also go beyond Africa. So I encourage you to think about it and see how you can take the idea to your own village, to your own state, and if it's something you can do yourself. The other thing also we are doing is to take this to schools, to the universities. So the universities now in Imo State are launching Okobi student clubs. So the idea is to get the students interested in this space earlier on before they graduate, so that they don't need to graduate and then start carrying CVs up and down. So that's the thinking behind Okobi so far. And permit me to stop here and answer any questions you have.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for speaking to us and sharing with us, enlightening us more on Okobi. It's so beautiful to hear we have something like that in Imo State. So you mentioned that we can actually start this up in our various locations. We mustn't be in Imo State, and we mustn't be an indigenous of Imo State. So as a youth now, whether Nigerian youth or as an African youth in general, how would you suggest, or how can a young person start up something like this, irrespective of our location?
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple in a way. So 3, 4, 5 people can come together. You first of all need to identify an opportunity. and then think of how to sell that opportunity to the market. So it's following the entrepreneurship model. Where is the market? What needs are we trying to address? But some people often start with the idea of where would the money come from? Okay, who would invest in us, or where do you get the money? Some people also ask us, okay, what's the government doing for us? Will the government give us money? And I tell them, no, the starting point is not the money, but the good ideas. Good ideas will always get money, most of the time. The banks and other investment institutions are looking for good ideas to invest in. So if you have a good idea, you have a good team, you have everything required to gain the trust of an investor, you will get money. And we have examples of companies that have done it so far. So I think the basic thing is to identify a need. What need do we want to solve? Because every entrepreneur solves a problem, and it's through solving that problem that the entrepreneur is rewarded and it makes profit. So that's what profit is all about. It's about value creation.
Okay, sir. So you're saying it all starts with a good idea. So when we get the idea, we now look for a need and look for the problem or solution to that need. Thank you so much, sir, for that. So we have a question here from Sons of God, and he's saying, in your own entrepreneurial journey, what has been the most valuable connection you've made through networking, and how did it change your business trajectory?
Very interesting question. I mean, entrepreneurship can come in different forms. So I'm primarily an academic, but I started my career as a consultant, as a management consultant. And one thing I learned through management consulting is to keep in touch. You know, you meet people, but you don't meet them and start selling things to them. Right? So you meet people, you nurture the relationship over time, and you put something in because it's like an investment. Sometimes you meet people, they only call you when they need something. But you can also invest in other people over time. Say, for example, I meet you and I know you're interested in transportation. From time to time, I can send you an article on transportation and say, this might be of interest to you. So I'm not asking you for anything. But then at the point when, or I can write something about it and share, or just over time, you know that, oh, Kenneth does X, right? And it's somebody who, I mean, I was talking to somebody recently. I said, I like a guy that is helping me do what I'm doing at the moment. Because his starting point is not money. He never starts with money. He starts with solution. What can we do? What is the problem? But being, say, for example, working in government these days, well, people come to me with kind of, they're very transactional. They're looking for, you know, where is the contract? Where is the money? But I'm saying, then what solution are you bringing to me first, which eventually may lead to money? I'm not saying there's not anything wrong with money. So in terms of connections, I follow the opportunities that were aligned to my areas of interest. I search that for them, and some of them are around, you know. So there's something they say that luck needs the prepared. Right? You first of all need to be prepared. So when those connections come, the connections themselves don't say much. The connections can take you, open doors to you, for you, but then you need to convert those opportunities, right? So you also need to be prepared in that regard. So I don't know if that helps. The job I'm doing today, for example, as a chief economic advisor, is through connections in a good way. It was kind of recommendation, and then the governor reached out, and then the rest is history. So sometimes you position yourself well to be able to be identified to do certain things.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for that. We also have a question here. How has the Imo State government been able to address brain drain, and how are those trained abroad encouraged to return and remain in Nigeria?
That's a very good question. So if you think about the digital program I talked about, it's also a way of reversing brain drain, where you can stay in Imo State and earn money. Then the Okobi movement is also one that is encouraging people abroad, because most people abroad, they support people at home. I live in the UK, so I know over time how much I have supported. And so not just me, anyone living abroad, you have people calling you to support them to do this or do that. So the Okobi provides a platform through which, or a channel through which people in diaspora can make investment home. And it's about teaching people how to fish as opposed to giving them fish. So the brain drain is a problem, not only for Imo State, but I think that's a fair question. But what we are doing through digital scale can be one way to reduce that. And then the other bit is if you traveled abroad and you want to give back or connect, the Okobi is there as a movement to help you make that connection back home.
Thank you very much, sir. This question says, how should entrepreneurs handle situations where collaborations fail or where partners don't deliver as expected?
Where what?
Where partners don't deliver as expected or where collaborations fail.
Yeah, failure is part of entrepreneurship, isn't it? Because sometimes we start hoping we'll succeed, we'll fail, but it's also what we can learn from failure. So what matters is failing and standing. You fail, you stand. Right? Don't be trapped in the failure. Learn from it and move on. Yes, you may not agree with a partner. Try to understand the source of the tension. Both of you may not be bad people. It's only that interests might be misaligned. But that your interests are divergent doesn't necessarily mean that you should become enemies. Right? So always try to avoid a situation whereby you fall out with the partner and then this all sort of acrimony, hatred, and because you can never know where you meet again. So make sure you part ways amicably, still keep the relationship open, even if you're moving into different business direction. Because there's this saying that you need to be careful with those you meet climbing the ladder, because you might meet them when you're coming down. So. But Maxwell, I need to go now. I mean, the idea was to start at 12. I think I'm far gone now because I have other commitments. I hope I've been able to support your initiative.
A lot, Sam. A whole lot. Thank you so much for sharing your quality time with us. Thank you for sharing your story and making this session as practical as possible. And thank you too for attending to our questions and giving us clarity. We're so grateful, sir. Thank you so much, Sam.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and all the best for the program.
Thank you so much, Sam.
Bye.
Bye, sir. Okay, everyone, that is just a tip of the iceberg on what we have for you today. Oh, okay. Thank you. I really want to thank all of you that have been participating actively since the beginning of this session. And right about now, I'll be calling up our second speaker for today. And he's a multi-talented genius solving complex problems that need more than one area of expertise. He's currently doing his PhD in public policy at Georgia Institute of Technology, specializing in science and technology policy. His research covers everything from AI policy making to the politics of innovation. He has studied in Nigeria, the Netherlands, and Austria, and he has also worked with top organizations like PwC Nigeria. He's a United Nations expert on artificial intelligence, an award-winning scholar, and a global voice on technology ethics and governance. But beyond the accolades, his mission is simple but yet powerful: to live the kingdom life and help others to do the same. We're talking about a youth like you and I who is doing absolutely well in his field. And today he will be speaking to us on future-ready youth, digital inclusion as the gateway to the fourth industrial revolution opportunities. The only intentional African youth I have with me. Please, with your fire emojis and your clapping ovation, let's give it up for Jide Olugbade. Good afternoon and welcome, sir.
Hi, Favor. Thank you very much for the warm introduction. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Good morning from my end here. Thank you, Professor Ameshi, for that insightful session. I totally enjoyed it, and I had one of my own questions answered. Um, I'm glad we're all converged here this day to really solve a pressing problem in Africa, in Nigeria, and the world at large. Today, before I begin, I'd like to just clarify. I believe a misstatement in my earlier introduction. I am not an officer of the United Nations. I would love to be, but currently I'm not. I consult with the UN Office of Digital and Emerging Technologies as a member of the network of experts on AI. So that is to say, anything I say here is not um, as a representative of the UN or any other organization, but in a personal capacity. And this afternoon, I have been given the task of addressing a topic. Um, can you see my slide, or is there some way to present? Okay, yeah, thank you. I've been given the topic Future Ready Youths, Digital Inclusion as the Gateway to 4IR Opportunities. And for clarity, 4IR simply refers to the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Um, I would like to begin with this. This is more of a mind shaping session to really help you see how you can leverage the opportunities ahead of you as a Nigerian youth or an African youth or wherever it might be in the world. There's a Spanish philosopher by the name George Santayana who said, "Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it." So that is to say, before we go into the fourth, or before we really understand what the fourth industrial revolution is and how we can be digitally included and take advantage of the opportunities, we need to know what has happened in the previous industrial revolutions, the first, second, and third. In the first industrial revolution, we had the discovery and invention of key technologies like the steam engine, mechanized textile manufacturing, iron production, and all of that. And what that really translated into is the shift from manual labor, from agrarian communities to mechanized manufacturing. So then people started urbanizing, factories started coming onto the scene, and transportation innovations also started appearing. Now, in the second industrial revolution, which is the late 19th to early 20th century, the first one was in the late 18th to mid 19th century. The second one really was about the discovery of electricity, the internal combustion engine, steel production, mass production. And this just catalyzed production and in industry. So you saw the expansion of industrialization, large scale manufacturing and assembly lines, and consumer goods started growing, global trade, modern infrastructure. Now, in the third industrial revolution, you had that was from the mid 20th century to early 21st century. You had computers, digital electronics, automation, and the internet, by virtue of which we are currently gathered here today from different parts of the world. And what that did was to really make everything that was mechanical and analog into a more digital and information oriented age. So we had information explosion and all of that, global connectivity. Now, to move on, we are currently in the fourth industrial revolution. And you've been hearing of many technologies like artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, robotics, and biotechnology, quantum computing, all of these big words. But what that is doing right now is actually integrating all the physical and the digital and the biological systems into one system. And that's actually blurring the lines between technology and human life, transforming different spheres of society. Now, why am I taking the pains to go through all of these? It is because, as a Nigerian, as an African, if you do not know what happened in the first, third, second, and third industrial revolution, then you might not be able to take advantage of what's happening in the fourth industrial revolution. Now, there were some things very, very bad and terrible things that happened in those revolutions, the first, second, and third, that hindered Africa as a whole from taking advantage. We had very terrible things like slavery, colonialism, and basically seeing Africa as a site of extraction. So while the rest of the world was developing, Africa was being plundered, and we were not able to really maximize our potential. Same thing in the second industrial revolution, because a lot of the first and second were those I described earlier, and the third industrial revolution, because a lot of countries that moved ahead and Africa was just starting based on all the factors I listed. Africa was so much underdeveloped infrastructure wise. So there were no basic infrastructure to really build upon and take advantage of the advent of the internet, telecommunications technology, and the global connectivity. We are just starting to lay the groundworks for that right now. So that has really set us back, but that does not mean that we cannot take advantage, or we cannot, by the virtue of self-determination, take advantage or leverage opportunities in the fourth industrial revolution. That is why you must know what has happened, so that you don't repeat the mistakes of the past. Now, today, Africa is at a very, I would say, pivotal moment. I have some statistics here that say that, okay, firstly, I'd like to let you know it's time for Africa. What has happened in the first, second, and third industrial revolution, that's gone. It's a part of our history, but must not let it determine where we are headed. So we have to rise. It's time for Africa. It's time for Africa, and we have to do away with all blame game and just relenting and attributing all sense of agency to what has happened to us. Whatever happened to us should not determine who we are today. Actually, as a matter of fact, it's our ability to bounce back stronger that matters, apart from what has happened to us. It's time for Africa, indeed. And the statistics say that. A lot of the things I'll be sharing today will be on AI, because that's where my expertise is, and my focus of area of research is on. But I'd like to let you know that in the fourth industrial revolution, artificial intelligence is a key technology that must not be missed. Look at how one executive described it. One of the companies really making huge contributions to the AI development world said, this is Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Alphabet, Google's parent company. It says, artificial intelligence will have a more profound impact on humanity than fire, electricity, and the internet. Imagine that. Saying we are on the verge of something great, something greater than has ever happened in the first, second, and third industrial revolution. So you cannot afford to be left behind. So it's time for Africa. Now, artificial intelligence requires talent as part of the critical resources to really leverage the opportunity. And that is one thing Africa excels at. Maybe you can't really see this screen, but I'll make it bolder. This is from a report by Brookings, a policy think tank in the United States, just basically doing the projections in population for Africa. And we can see that Africa's population is really at its greatest. So the report is a bit dated. It's 2019, but the fact still remains. It says by 2050, sub-Saharan Africa will make up to 3% of the world youth population. There was another one I saw that it says that by that time, 2 or 3 out of every 5 person in the world will be an African youth. So how are we going to leverage that opportunity? Every other population, their youth population is on the decline, but Africa's is rising. So it's time for Africa indeed. It's time for Africa. Now, by saying that, I need to let you know that No one is coming to save us. As sad as that reality is, no one is coming to save us. We need to leverage what we have. We need to forget what has happened. We need to rise again and really enter into the game. We need to know what's going on and decide to be a part of history, not be written as some victim of history, as we have always been in the past industrial revolutions. No one is coming to save us. We must do away with the passivity. There are a lot of people who blame the underdevelopment in Africa, in Nigeria, on what the colonial masters did to us. Yes, that's a part of our history, but there are people who have also undergone the same thing. They went through the same thing, but they also stood up stronger. So we need to learn, and we need to quit the blaming and actually stand up and do something. There's a verse, I'm a Christian, so there's a verse in the Bible that really stood out to me, uh, and I decided to share as part of this presentation. It says, "From the moment John stepped onto the scene until now, the realm of heaven's kingdom is bursting forth, and passionate people have taken hold of its power." In some other translations, this is the Passion Translation. In some other translation, it's written as from the time of John the Baptist, the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the violent take it by force. But I love this translation because it brings out the key issue. Passionate people are those who take hold of power. Passion, even in the kingdom of God, how much less the kingdom of man. If you really want to take advantage of what's going on in this fourth industrial revolution, you have to do away with the passivity. Now, I talk about it from a perspective of inclusion, which is one of the word in the theme I have been uh, assigned to speak on, and I hope I can do some justice. Of course, digital inclusion is required, even internally speaking, in our countries. Our government needs to work on building opportunities for people. They need to lay the major infrastructure and framework and capacity building opportunities for people to really take advantage of opportunities. So help them to access the internet, electricity, and telecommunication devices and all of that. But from an external perspective, I really want to challenge the use of the word digital inclusion, because that's where this title of this subsection is coming from. No one is coming to save us. You know, for a long time, Africa has been reliant on aid, foreign aid, um, external interventions, foreign investment. Well, these type of things are what they usually do is create a mindset of dependency and a loss of agency. So people begin to rely on what others can do for them, but no one is coming to save us as an African youth. We really, really need to rise up and be passionate and take hold of the opportunities that are presented to us. Because, mind you, everyone has their agenda, whether it be in AI. I do a lot of work on the geopolitics of innovation, and I'll let you know that the US, China, the European Union, that most of African governments look to, they have their agenda. They want to stay ahead of the competition. So there is no way that whatever they're giving Africa, whatever they are investing in Africa, doesn't ultimately lead to them being ahead, and we always are on the lower rung of the ladder. So we cannot always depend on other people. AI systems are being designed to exclude. AI systems have been designed to exclude. So if you're looking at digital inclusion from the perspective of someone has to include you, then you might be wrong. You might just wait forever. So you need to step up and stand up and be counted. I'll move on to the last thing I'm going to say before I have time for time for question and answers. How can you participate? How can you participate? I have three key points here. Be aware. Be aware. You need to know what's going on. Information is everything. Information is everything. I appreciate the fact that a lot of you are gathered here today really desiring information. Information is key. So you need to listen to the news. What are the technologies? What are the digital discoveries being made? What are the things in the fourth industrial revolution that you can really take advantage of? If you don't know, you're always going to be in the dark. So you need to research. I'm a researcher currently. Uh, Doing research as a PhD researcher at Georgia Tech. These are the things that occupy me. um so you need to do research. If you hear of something new, make it a habit to just go online. As much as you could have joined this program, that means you have an access to the internet and to a smart device that can access the internet. So type things online, use Google. There's chat GPT now, there's all these LLMs now. If you don't understand, just Google and find out what's this person talking about. So also another powerful tool I have been able to use are newsletters. So subscribe to newsletters. They are basically emails that different organizations and stakeholders send out to inform you of what's going on, what they're doing, or what they are contributing to. You can access opportunities by virtue of just being subscribed to newsletters. Go to opportunity boards and job boards. Look at what's out there for you to really leverage. So information sessions, webinars, just like you're actually doing it right now. LinkedIn is also there. Be connected to people that you know are doing the things you're interested in. So look at what they're talking about. Like, learn to use social media as a tool that adds to you, not just mindless scrolling. So connect to people that can add value to you and listen to what they say or write. So these are ways you can stay in the know. You have to be aware if you are going to take advantage of the opportunities, the fourth industrial revolution. ChatGPT is there to take advantage of it. It has revolutionized how you can search the internet. You don't have to go through pages of web results like Google would usually give you. ChatGPT can just summarize. Although a caveat, um, it has been known to generate false conclusions or summaries. So you need to verify with other sources. So not just ChatGPT, but any other large language model. Now, what's the next thing? Okay, I'm going to end that subsection by saying this quote from Wayne Gretzky, who was really one of the top hockey players of all time. He said, "A good hockey player plays where the puck is. A great hockey player plays where the puck is going to be." So that's where the emphasis is, where the puck is going to be. And I've been also told to share some personal experiences from my own journey. So I started working as a consultant, as a professional at PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, one of the consulting firms in Nigeria and in the world. But I had a desire to really know what's going on in the field of technology, because a lot of my clients were battling with emerging technologies and how they can really respond to the challenges it's throwing up for their business. So I decided I need to know what's going on, and as a result of that, I decided to go for a master's program abroad, which was I had the opportunity and privilege to be sponsored by the Dutch government for a program. And I chose to study science, technology, and society, which really is to understand how technology is changing society and how society can respond or contribute as well. So I decided to focus on artificial intelligence after my master's program for my PhD, because it was not yet a big thing at the time. So I could predict where the world was heading, and I prepared for the opportunities ahead of me. This is how you can always be where the puck is going, by being aware, by being sensitive to your environment. I need to run fast now. I'm running out of time. The next thing is you must be active. You must be active. You have to sign up for volunteering opportunities. You have to take part in virtual internships. You have to like attend workshops. You have to take courses to build your capacity to really take advantage of the fourth industrial revolution. Join groups on LinkedIn, on Facebook, wherever, on WhatsApp. People doing great things. Sorry, I know I'm running out of time. I'll round off quickly. People doing great things. You have to be a participant, not just a spectator. Be active. There's this quote that says from Thomas Edison, one of the greatest inventors of all time. It says, "Opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work." Most people avoid opportunities because it requires them to take action, to do something that could even be sacrificial sometimes. So don't be part of those people. You are, if you are going to be active, you need to know that it's going to require a lot of work from you. You need to expend resources, no matter how little you can afford at the moment. Invest it in your future. It's going to pay up for itself later on. Lastly, build something. Build something. And I'm not just saying as maybe innovator. Yeah, be an innovator, but I'm not saying maybe you have to build something mechanically or a product or something. But basically, how are you leveraging the technologies that are here defining the fourth industrial revolution today? AI, for instance. How are you leveraging AI? Someone said AI won't replace you. Someone using AI will. So there's a lot of scare and hype around. Well, there's some truth to it because as a researcher, I know the fact that AI is going to take your jobs and all of that. It's already happening, but the truth to that is that there's always been lots of jobs with every kind of automation and industrial revolution, but people always find a way to bounce back. Now, AI won't replace you. Someone using AI will. You need to start strategizing. How am I going to integrate AI with what I'm already doing? You don't necessarily have to be build an AI tool. You could even be as a researcher or a policy maker or a business person or an online content creator. How are you leveraging AI? Not just AI, any other kind of technology, the internet even. This is how to take uh, power with a passion, how to be active and not passive. So I'm going to round off now. Thank you. I look forward to the questions that you have, and I'm happy to engage. You can connect with me on social media, send me an email. I'll respond as soon as I have the time. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much, Mr. Jide Olugbade. That was an interesting and eye-opening section. We've been hearing about the fourth industrial revolution, but here in this session, you just opened our eyes to how we can take advantage of these opportunities. And some of the points that stood out for me, where you mentioned when you said we should be connected with people that can add value to you, that is very important. And you said something about being active, signing up for volunteering opportunities, taking courses, join groups and all of that. These things will actually help us and open our eyes to the opportunities there. And the last point you gave about building something, of course, in the modern day, most of us youth, we are scared that AI is going to take our job. But then you just cleared the fact that AI is not going to take our job, but someone who is so much for that one. It's just a call for us to, to take advantage of these opportunities. Thank you so much, Mr. Jide, for that one. So we have a few questions in the comments, and this person says, with the rise of AI and automation, what are the risks of exclusion for youth who are not digitally skilled, and how can we mitigate them?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. So I believe I covered a part of this in my presentation. The risks are high, no doubt. The risks are high, but they are not something that cannot be mitigated, as you're asking. Yes. So people need to take responsibility. If you are connected, the least thing, I mean, the least resource you need is really a phone connected to the internet. Before I started my program, I had a friend who I later met who told me he applied to the same institution as I am currently just using his phone. He didn't even have a laptop. He didn't even have a laptop. He applied to such global opportunity using his phone. As long as you have a phone that can access the internet and you have access to the internet, you can learn anything and you can be anything. So don't wait for um, uh, skill empowerment programs by the government before you rise up to take advantage. The risks are high, no doubt, but again, remember, no one is coming to save you, not even your own government, because they all are self interested. We as humans, we are always self interested. That's something about the basic nature of human beings. So you have to let your own self-interest drive you to do something for yourself. So but at the macro level, yes, people in power need to put structures in place to create opportunities or enable people to take advantage of opportunities. Yeah, I agree with that. But in the absence of that, you have to look out for yourself.
Thank you so much for that. You kept emphasizing on no one is coming to save you. I mean, as bitter as it may sound, is the reality. We just have to take advantage of these opportunities. Thank you so much, sir. Cynthia Oguji says, what role should government and private companies play in ensuring fair access to the fourth industrial revolution technologies for all young people?
Thank you, Cynthia. Governments have a responsibility to protect people from being exploited and extorted and being treated uh, below what basic human dignity requires. Basically, the fundamental human rights. Creating the right environment for people and business and the planet to thrive. So business, governments have that as their purpose, and they should try as much as possible to do that. Um, in my introduction, it was mentioned that I'm studying public policy, science and technology policy to be precise. That's one of the things I am focusing on. How can we ensure that we do not sacrifice people and planet on the altar of profit? So governments need to ensure that policies are in place, guardrails are in place to ensure that businesses are acting rightly and people are maximizing their potentials. Businesses need to be ethical. It's one of the things I study as well. So businesses need to be ethical. There are systems being built right now that are really discriminating and built on bias, algorithms that exclude people, that don't recognize people of darker skin tones or things like that, or being used maliciously. Or there is the risk of misinformation, disinformation, malinformation, even. So businesses, private companies building these technologies need to ensure that the risks are minimal and that they are not exacerbating the situation. So these are just little ways in which we can ensure fair access to the fourth industrial revolution technologies.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jide Olugbade. And in the comment section, we all are saying thank you. Everyone, Cynthia says, thank you, sir. I'm inspired. Thank you so much. This is breathtaking. Thank you so much. These are valid points you've shared. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your wealth of knowledge with us. Thank you for being with us today. We really appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, thank you. I'll just leave you with this last point. Don't just be a consumer in the fourth industrial revolution. How are you creating? How are you contributing? That's the question you keep asking yourself. Don't just use Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, whatever platform, whatever tool. but how are you contributing? I'm contributing via my own research. I'm contributing via my own expertise. Again, you don't have to build something technical, so to speak, but you can do something with the talent and the gifts and the expertise and skills you currently have to contribute to the fourth industrial revolution. How are you doing so? So let that remain with you. Thank you again, Favor. Thank you, everyone. Happy to
Thank you
connect.
so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for spending your time with us, sir. Okay, everyone, let us do something nice for Mr. Jide in the chat box. Let's see your clapping emoji, your fire emoji. It's so good to see that we're getting knowledge from the sessions we've had so far. And it's good to see that our speakers are inspiring us and pushing us to do better. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Just like to emphasize on what Mr. Jide just mentioned, be a creator, not just a consumer. Make sure you're creating something while you consume content. Thank you so very much. And just so you know, our session today is complete and it is whole, like you're having a whole meal, and it's purely Nigerian because we have our speakers. Our first speaker, Mr. Professor Kenneth Amechi, is from Imo State, which is from the eastern part of Nigeria. And our second speaker who just finished is Mr. Jide Olugbade, all the way from the western part of Nigeria. And our next speaker, to strike the balance, is one who is a sustainability and innovation consultant, a climate change advocate, a legal advisor, co-founder of the Association of Nigerian Refugee Students. He specializes in sustainable finance, sustainable and regenerative governance, and legal frameworks. He's the legal advisor at Climeactions and the organizing body of this event. As a co-founder of the Nigerian Refugee Students Volunteering for the Development of Minawao, he has played a pivotal role in empowering Nigerian refugee students in Cameroon through educational programs and mentorship. He has authored several articles on sustainability, climate governance, and corporate responsibility, exploring such topics as global maximum tax and supply chain sustainability. His works reflect a deep understanding of how legal frameworks and sustainable business practices intersect to address environmental challenges. To strike the balance, he's from the north. Intentional Nigerian youth, I want to see your fire emojis and your clapping emojis as I make welcome the co-director of Climeactions, John Manua. Good afternoon and welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Favor. Good afternoon, all the people that are joining us around the world, irrespective of where you are joining this program from. I just want to say that this is a nice moment for all of us to discuss on most of the issues that disturb us as people and the one that disturb our planet, our common home where we live on. Before I briefly talk on the topic I was asked to talk about, I just want to appreciate the previous speakers, Professor Kenneth. I am his disciples. In philosophy, we are allowed to describe ourselves as a disciple or fellow of someone whom you have much agree with, and someone that you look up to as a mentor. And also to Jide, who have explored and gave us a lot of knowledge on digital technology. And in the process of my presentation, I will be talking on some aspect of the things that he made mention earlier. But most importantly, I want some of the words that he mentioned during the presentation to resonate in your mind. And one of the things is awareness. as an activist. I consider myself to be an activist because I believe for us to be able to tackle most of the global challenges, we all need to play a role, and you don't play a role when you are not aware of what is happening. So awareness is very, very important. If you are not aware, there's no way you have a way to deal with the situation. Thank you to all the presenters and also the participants. Now, I want to talk in the next 10 to 15 minutes about a topic, something that we might all be quite aware of. Because I am a village boy, so we will talk on a topic that I believe most people who have once experienced a village life, or not only village, a community-based lifestyle, will be able to understand and share the same perspective with me. So, and I'm going to talk on how to combine the indigenous knowledge system, or what we also call the traditional knowledge, with the current digital knowledge or digital technologies. As I've said, Jide talk about technology, and he went deeper by giving us the background and also a brief history. But when we talk about digital traditional knowledge or indigenous knowledge system, what are we really talking about? We are not talking about new things or things that we are not aware of as people, because uh, whether you are a city boy or a village boy, you belong to a community, and communities always have practices, they have wisdoms, they have knowledge, they have values that they share among themselves. And those wisdoms and those knowledge that have been practiced over time in a given area or within a particular community, those are the things that we refer to as indigenous knowledge system or traditional knowledge. And for the past decades, the international community has been calling on all of us, on all the players in global community, the government, the private sectors, the individuals, and everybody to consider or to think on how to take advantage of the current digital innovation or technologies to merge with our practices. If we consider issues like climate change, for example, climate change is considered to be a global challenge. But I can tell you for free that the negative effect of climate change varies based on a community or geographical location. So the effect of climate change, maybe in one of the developed country in Europe, for instance, can never be the same with the effect on a country in sub-Saharan Africa, in East Africa, West or Central Africa, because those consequences has much more to do with the place or with the geographical location. And in order for us to be able to tackle problem like climate change or any other problem that disturb us as humans, because the topic says that how to use the digital traditional knowledge system and the modern technology in restarting the economy. If we are talking about restarting an economy, I am not an economist, but it shows that something has gone wrong with the economic, and not only the economic, but with so many other sectors of life. And in order to find a solution to problem, you must have to use all the resources at your disposal to tackle it. And over the past decades, indigenous knowledge or community practices has been undermined by the so-called the global south, or the more of scientific knowledge. And if we take example in sectors like agriculture, for example, many of you will agree with me that from our communities or villages that we used to come from, even before this whole issue of global call on sustainability came into play, to more popular, we have to do some practices that now we have seen it to be more sustainable than some of the action. And those ones, for example, has to do with a crop rotation or the terraces that we put, like people who live in the mountains side. If you are farming, in order to ensure that maybe the insufficient rainfall do not affect your plant, because since you are not in charge of rainfalling, you have to put some measure. And in most cases, we used to make a hole or we put a terrace. So in case the rain falls, it blocks and it keeps the place wet and to be moisture for some time, so that even if it did not rain for some time, you will be your crop will be able to benefit from that initiative. And also in forest preservation. For the past years, of course, we have seen in our community there are certain places that were maintained to protect biodiversity or to protect certain animals inhabitants that the place have been dedicated to. So you don't farm on, you don't do anything. You have to keep that place to ensure the continuity and the survival of the species. All these are knowledge. They are practices that we have been engaging in for the past years. And now that the technology is at our disposal, just like the way our brother explained earlier, why can't we take the advantage of the technology to maximize on those practices? One of the greatest advantage of digital technology is the ability to maximize. He gave example with ChatGPT. As student, I can tell you for free, when we used to study before, we find it difficult because if you were given an assignment or a task to carry out, you may spend the whole day sweating, looking for the source where to get the information in order to answer some questions. But now, with the help of digital technology, there are some technologies that you can use easily in order to access information in a very short period of time. And that just to tell you that you can still use some of the modern technologies in some practices like the agriculture now. And at the beginning of this event, for people that joined earlier, you must have seen the video. You have seen a drone flying to spray the plants, the farm. And that the drone has the capability to cover a lot hectares or a lot of area of land within a few minutes, as compared to individual. So if you use your physical strength, you need to carry a sprayer on your back, and it takes a lot of time. But now you just need to have access to technology like the drone in order to cover a lot of area. And that does not really take away from you those indigenous practices or the knowledge that they have been using. Even as peasant farmers, as I've said earlier, we used to do certain things, certain practices that ensure that at the end of the season, we'll harvest more plants or other things that we are working on. So we have so far seen in some countries across the continent of Africa, where the farmers or the farmers, of course, have used some digital technology to improve on the profitability of the sector, and also to maximize the harvest of the crop. And when I was reading some time ago, I learned there was an AI tool developed by ISTA. ISTA is an innovative solution for African agriculture. It's a non-profit organization that is based in Kenya. So they've developed a virtual agronomist. So it is you just need to have, of course, a digital tool like a phone, computer, or whatever, and to have access to WhatsApp, just like on X. For people that use X, we have group or other things. So that virtual agronomist is like an agricultural consultant. You just need to give some specification of your farm to tell if maybe you have seen something going wrong with your crop and you are not able to exactly know what is happening. Instead of you, like it has been done in the developed country, to go and look for a consultant or someone who has been trained or someone who is having a lot of knowledge on that area or in the area of agriculture, to pay money for consultancy. You just need to use that virtual agronomist, and based on the existing knowledge, on the wisdom, because digital technology have access to multiple sources to gather information. So you give specification of the problem, and the virtual technology will be able to give you response and to recommend what should be done to your plants or to your farm in order to have to maximize your output. So that's just one of the example. And also there's an example of a digital traditional medicine library also in the continent of Africa, in South Africa. So that one, the community or the indigenous people work with people who are knowledgeable in the area of digital technology, and they develop a technology where all the information concerning the traditional medicine herbalists, like we normally have herbalists in our various communities, people that based on their experience, based on their knowledge of the community where they live in, they know of plants that you can use or that you can take if you have malaria or fever, to be able to heal without going to see a trained medical doctor. But instead of the trained medical professionals and the technologists to discard that practice, they instead encourage, and they have a consensus with the indigenous community. They develop an app and took all the information concerning the medicine, the indigenous medicine that the indigenous people normally use without going to the hospital, because it is something that has been proven to be effective, to be important over time. And so they put them on a digital platform. So sometimes if you have certain symptoms, and that includes the symptoms of the sickness that you have. So we know the common symptom of fever. For example, you have headache, you have a temperature, and so many things like that. So they make sure that since the technology is having the capability of storing those information, you just need to have the access to the app. If you have a particular symptom, you check and you will be able to see an indigenous or traditionally based way of treating that. That is, if you don't have the access to medical, to professional medical system. And as we all know, in most communities, especially in Africa, while we are rapidly growing, there are communities that still find it difficult to access some services. So those are the things. What I'm saying is that, look, those practices that you have seen for the past decades in your community, now it is the time to see how to take advantage of the existing technology to prove on. Just like what Jide has said earlier, you don't need to innovate or to create something from a technical point of view. No, innovation does not really mean creating. It could be improving on an existing knowledge. So take advantage of them, be it in field of agriculture or any other field area. We need to do that. And why do we need to do that? I've said that so many things have gone wrong, and climate change is just one of them. Like the COVID that we had for the past, like 4 or 3 years ago, if I'm not wrong, we have seen the problem, the disruption to the global supply chain. And if we do not have the ability to improve on the existing knowledge that we have, to maximize production, to do certain things, to create jobs with ourselves, because innovations entails creation of jobs. And Professor Kenneth talked about, he discussed entrepreneurship earlier. Those are the methods. Even the Okobi, the one kindred, one business initiative, was based on community understanding to have that in order to give the youth the opportunity to explore, to have employment, or to be self-employed, because the private sectors and the government alone will not be able to give everybody the job that we need. So do not undermine the practices, those knowledges. I mean, some might be immoral based on your belief. There are some that are not, like the case of traditional way of addressing some of the health issues like fever. There are some that you just need to take a particular plant or bark of tree and you take and you'll be fine. Those ones are not morally corrupt if you are a believer or whatever. So let us take advantage of it. Let us take advantage of all those practices. They are not crude. They are not useless. They are important and we need them. And this is the time to use it, to take advantage of all those knowledge, all this understanding that you have as an individual, the things that you have learned from your community. We need to put them into practice to improve and to maximize production, to create jobs for ourselves and for the communities that we live in. So I think I'm going to stop here. As I've said earlier, what I'll talk about is nothing new, is something that we all know, but it's more of a call to action as an activist. Let us act, and this is the right time for us to act. Thank you very much. And if you have a specific topic, question you that you would like to ask, please, you can go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. It was such an interesting and enlightening session. Thank you very much. We have this question from Grace Elachi. She says, please, how can government and private companies incentivize business to adopt hybrid models that merge digital and traditional systems? How can government and private companies incentivize businesses to adopt hybrid models that merge digital and traditional systems?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sure you can hear me. So just to answer your question, I mean, that's why awareness is important. And let me talk on this like from a climate change perspective purely. Like even at the international level, where with the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, for the past years, like the officials have been calling on governments across the nations to ensure that the practices, the indigenous practices are being adopted by the communities. And there are cases in Bangladesh, for example, and I think even in Africa, I cannot hold to a specific, but also it is our responsibility as individuals to raise the awareness, because without awareness, they cannot be done. And there's what we call the quintuple helix in sustainability. This once is a model developed by a scholar, where the governments and the private sectors, the community representative, the NGOs, the media, always have a platform to interact. And without interaction, without awareness, you don't develop a model. So how do we, the model must not really be only from the government or from the private sector point of view, but also from an individual point of view. You can do it. And in most cases, there are incentives by the government and NGOs for the indigenous knowledge system. Like last 2 weeks ago, there was an AI summit in Rome, AI Summit for Africa. I think that was how it was titled. So those ones, they are encouraging the indigenous people of Africa, the innovators, the young innovators and climate activists and entrepreneurs in so many fields, people that were able, and just the example that I give in field of agriculture, there are people that have developed app or technologies that monitors that monitors the well-being of a plant, of a tree. And those are the incentives that you can find mostly by the NGOs and the government. But for private institutions, in most cases, they have it as a business model, but it is not visible given the fact that they're more of like profit making body than the NGO or government. So that is what I would like to say about that. And I don't know if I was able to give some insight to your question.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for shedding more light on that. This question says, in the next decade, do you see traditional knowledge being integrated into sectors like AI, blockchain, or climate tech, and how? In the next
Okay.
decade.
Okay, thank you. I've heard the question, and thank you for the question. But I mean, during the discussion, I've made mention of digital agronomies. That was it has been developed in Kenya. Is an actually AI powered tool, but it is linked to Meta, to WhatsApp. I think also we have now Meta AI, where you can just click something and it gives you information. So this is just one of the example of so many. Okay, so AI, blockchain, or climate tech. Okay, if we let's talk about climate change, maybe in the field of renewable energy, there are now cars, because we were taught that in order to address the issue of climate change, we must be able to cut down on the this thing of greenhouse gas emission, and there are cars that used to be the emitter of this. But now we have technologically powered vehicles or machines that use the digital tool, like the AI or the climate tech to power those machines, like electric cars. And we have cars that are purely technological driven models, where most of the things, the future associated to those machines are powered by digital technology. So it is not only limited to AI or blockchain, but to all the diverse digital tools that we have. Like I gave example with the drones earlier. So of course we are seeing it, not in future, is happening now, but in the next few years, I'm sure maybe it is going to be one of the trending issues that we will have to deal with as people or as activists. That's what I would like to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, John Manua, for enlightening us on how we can combine traditional knowledge and digital tech in restarting the economy. Thank you so very much. Thank you very much. Take care, sir. Take care, sir. Thank you. So, everyone, like I said earlier at the beginning of this session, I told you it was going to be a very rich session. It was going to be enlightening and eye-opening. As you can see, I have my notes here, and my notes are full. And just a recap of some of the things our speakers left with us today. Professor Kenneth Amechi opened our eyes to how we can tap into business and entrepreneurship, and we can do some of this by marketing good ideas. And when we're marketing these ideas, ensure you first nurture your relationship with probably a potential partner or someone you want to work with. Don't just come up with a business idea or something first. Start with value. Give value first and nurture your relationship before you share your business idea or whatever it is. He also told us to search for opportunities in our areas of interest. So, of course, we're from different places, different locations, and we do different things. So, whatever you are interested in, there are so many opportunities there for you. So, it is now left for you as a young person, as a youth, irrespective of your location, to search for opportunities in that your area of interest. And Mr. Jide Olugbade, he kept emphasizing on the fact that no one is coming to save you. If there is nothing, if you should not forget anything at all. But then always remember, whenever you want to be lazy, whenever you want to be laid back, just remind yourself that nobody is coming to save you. It is you and you alone. And stop blaming the government, stop blaming the society, stop blaming your parents or your family, because there are lots of opportunities. And he went ahead to share these opportunities with us and how we can tap into these opportunities. And he told us to be connected to people that can add value to you. Social media has made life easier now that you get easy access to people who on a normal day you will not get access to them. So connect with these people, follow them on social media, learn from people. Make sure you're not just wasting your time scrolling endlessly on social media. Make sure you're getting value in return. And secondly, he encouraged us to be active. Don't just be a passive user of social media or technology. Make sure you are active. Sign up for volunteering opportunities. In as much as money is very important, but you should also give yourself to learning. Learn through volunteering. You should also take courses. There are many free courses now on Coursera, Google, and the likes, including Indeed. Go to these platforms and learn. That's how you become better. Then also join groups on LinkedIn, across Facebook. There are so many free groups that give valuable information for you. So join these groups and be active there. And lastly, he kept emphasizing on building something. Don't just be a consumer. Also make sure you are a creator. While you consume content, make sure you are creating something too. Let other people consume your own content. And with all of this, you will be able to tap into the opportunities in this fourth industrial revolution. And our last speaker, John Manua, said we don't need to recreate. You necessarily don't need to start creating something all over again. Building on what Mr. Jide said, there are so many things you can improve on. You can improve on an already existing knowledge and maximize that. And you can also go back to those crude, those things we see as old or archaic, those traditional methods. They are gradually coming into this digital economy, but in this digital world in a refined way. So take advantage of those practices. They are not crude. Find a way to refine it and see how we can blend them with the current technology. So people, thank you so very much for joining us. It's been a wonderful session, and trust me, I am pumped up already to go out and give back to the society, to go out and tap into these opportunities available for us, fourth industrial revolution and everywhere. If you have questions, you can still put them in the chat box, and you can please subscribe to our LinkedIn with the link on your screen. Please follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on LinkedIn and subscribe to our newsletters. Remember, Dr. DJ talked about newsletters. Mr. Jide rather talked about subscribing to newsletters. These are ways for you to learn and get exposure in what is happening in the world today. Don't be left out. Subscribe to our newsletters and follow us on LinkedIn. Just before we call it a wrap, I'd like to welcome the executive director, the one who has pioneered and organized today's event, Mr. Adjust. Welcome, Mr. Maxwell.
Sorry,
Welcome.
there was a 30-second shake up where we couldn't bring ourselves back on stage, but yeah, we're finally here. Thank you very much, Favor. Thank you very much. It's been really brilliant. Uh, this is breathtaking. Where do I start from? I mean, I didn't expect everything we had today, to be honest. I actually thought we would just come and have a 1 hour session rule or something, and people will get tired, people want to log off. It to be boring, maybe it will get boring. That was my basic fear. But here we are. I still have, people over 600 people still tuned in here, still willing to listen, to learn, to advance. I see the boldness in you. I see the courage in you. What can I say? It's been really brilliant. It's been an encouraging session. It's been a session that breeds, that aura of positivity. I can't be grateful enough to Professor Kenneth Amechi, the economic advisor to the Imo State government, and all the works that he has done for the Imo State government and the Imo State people. He's been recognized not just in Imo State and not just in Nigeria, but I was happy to be in a global conference with him recently, where his works was really, really, really appreciated by people all across board worldwide. I'm really happy to have you here, Professor, and it's been a wonderful session with you. I can't. How on earth can I just summarize thanking Mr. Olajide Olubade? He's been absolutely brilliant. If you look at the session while he was speaking, you can see the reactions and everything. It says it for itself. You don't say these things with words, and I believe so much that wherever you are today, whatever you're doing right now, like you're listening to this thing right now, you know that you have impacted people. You have brought light. You've brought encouragement to people this very noon. I thank you very much for everything that you've done, and I would definitely say that these are the kind of people that we need around the globe. These are the kind of people we need in Nigeria in particular. Very, very humble and honest guy. Met him and presented a project to him without question. He said yes. These are the people that we really, really need in our society, and I'm really, really grateful for everything that you've done for us. I can't express my gratitude enough. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Jide. Of course, what else? This one takes my breath away, but because when you have a partner that is so relentless, when you have a partner that's so determined, is so good on the go, like nothing phases him. When there's call for impact, when there's call for value, when there's call for application, is always there. And I can't just find myself in the midst of any other person, but such kind of people. It's been brilliant. What we share together, what we have together, what we communicate, everything. Mr. John Manua is an absolute gentleman, and I'm really happy today. People watching him here today, and I can see the comment as well. people watching him. I can see comment that I'm muted. Am I?
No, you're not. We can hear you, please.
I was scared. Okay. And that's been really beautiful. I really appreciate everything we share together. And he, Mr. John Manuel, is a co-director of this great and inspiring organization that we're doing together, and it's been really, really brilliant. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all of you who've joined from different places today. I know some people joined from the US. It's an early hour for you, and I really appreciate, especially our guest speaker, Mr. Jide, and of course people joining from the UK as well. I know I know how Saturday noons are for you. You want to have your rest and all of that, but still you're here. People joining from Europe, thank you very much, and my beloved people, Nigeria and Africa. Oh, this is for you. And yes, and this is to let you know that you are not being forgotten. You are not, you are a pillar that we are always conscious about. And definitely Africa will be great, and Africa will not sit back and be recipients alone, but Africa will get very soon. Africa will become the drivers of innovations. Africa will become the drivers of solutions, and Africa will become, especially the youth in Africa, will become the change makers of this world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Maxwell, for that one. Thank you, everyone. Thank you once again for joining us here today. Just before we call it a wrap, I guess we have just a few minutes left. So I just want to see our reactions in the chat box. I want us to type, Africa will be great again. Attach a fire emoji to it. Africa will be great again. Or, I am an African youth and I am a great leader. Let's do that in the chat box. Just a few seconds, please, before we call it a wrap. Thank you, Professor Kenneth Amechi. Thank you, Jide Olugbade. Thank you, John Manua. Thank you, everyone who joined us from different parts of the world. We even had listeners across Africa, outside Africa. Thank you so much for making our time to be here with us. Yes, Africa will be great again. Africa will be great again. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here today. It was indeed a beautiful session, and trust me, we made history today. Exactly, Africa will be the provider of solutions. Thank you so very much. I want us to go out with this energy on social media, across all social media platforms. Whatever you learned from the various speaker sessions, do well to tag them on social media, write your lessons, write your feedback on how today's session was, tag them, and also follow them across all social media platforms. You'll find them there. And when you check the chat box, the comment section, you'll find their links and their handles. And for us at Climeactions, yeah, thank you so much. Africa is great again. Thank you so much. For us at Climeactions, you can follow us on LinkedIn and subscribe to our newsletters so you get updated on everything we're doing and you not miss out on important information. Thank you, Intentional Youth, for joining me on today's event, on this session. It's been an absolute pleasure of being your host. Thank you for your active participation. My name is Changemakers LSC. And I'm so glad. Let's do this some other time again. Thank you very much, everyone. Check the comment section. You'll see our social media links so you can follow our speakers and follow us across all social media platforms. Have a good afternoon, everyone. Bye. Bye.
Join the movement.
Let's build a better future
and a healthier planet.
One action at a time.
One action at a time.